There's some jokes, some memes out there that just where it says like, I don't know, like people say I'm getting old, but I feel fine. And then the doctor says like, oh, well, let me ask you real quick. Do you like seltzer water? He says, yes, I didn't used to like it, but I love it. And then the doctor's note he writes down, patient is basically dead. So
Oh, right.
I have to
Um,
say, me too. I am a little, I do enjoy me some seltzers.
is my
And
video feed okay? Because I just plugged in my Ethernet cable. Oh,
uh
there we
huh.
go. My head's back.
Yeah, Jitsi gets all craps out sometimes when it's like,
Okay.
when it's not doing that. Let me
Okie dokie.
see. It seems to say we're live. As soon as it says people are actually watching on YouTube, then we'll roll the intro graphic. But yeah, we are live currently. Um. Oh, note. How do you say this guy's name again? Noda Klojak says hi all. Hey you. All right. Well, if someone's in the live chat, then I guess we must be live. So, hey everyone, we have a fantastic podcast for you. But first, let's roll this quick little intro graphic. So, it looks like we are not only live with the incomparable Mark Mason, but I picked the correct. I somehow predicted the outfit in the profile picture for this podcast. I don't know if you saw.
How did you? I have
Yes.
lots of yeah, similar looking shirts.
Yeah. So it might not be the exact same one. Oh, Ash says hi, hi, hi. So I don't know if you caught the last podcast, but we had everyone. We had the incomparable. There are a lot of incomparable people in my life, as it turns out. But Chuck Williams came on to chat all kinds of things. He still has the same, the same voice as ever. He still says all values, belief, unprompted even. And yeah, it was a good old time. Good to see he's doing his good stuff. Good to see he's enthusiastic about the cool stuff going on with Dash as well. But
That's great. I really miss Chuck. I think he's working with Float now, right? That's the
yes,
social media network. Okay, cool. That's really interesting. Sadly, I was in a biz dev meeting with Omar, so I missed the podcast.
yeah,
But
it's
one of
all
the
right.
things I was interested, I mean, firstly, I miss Chuck. I think he was a great asset to Dash. And in fact, I think we're still missing out because in terms of being a public speaker at events and stuff, he really put himself out on the line. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we're actually missing someone like Chuck.
Yeah.
I'd love to try and bring him back in the fold. But with regards to Float, I recall talking to their founder last year on
Mm.
LinkedIn. And I think he was either looking for either investment, but there was a bit of a language barrier going on. And then I learned that Chuck joined towards either the beginning of this year or towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about at the time, because the founder was telling me some of the metrics, and there was actually quite a lot of people in the Dash community that are signed up.
Mm.
And we started to talk about Dash platform functionality. But at that stage, it was too much in its infancy to talk about in terms of integrating functionality in terms of Dash platform.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got Chuck in the mix. I don't know if you discussed that possibility on your podcast or what direction they're going, but that
Yeah.
might be something worth exploring.
We did definitely talk about a login with Dash option for all that. But obviously, we're ways away from that. But they did just raise a couple million. So compound that with hopefully raising a lot more money and hopefully they'll be able to make it happen. But that's the thing is, I was sort of alluding to when I just said there's like a 99.98% failure rate on like most things like businesses and stuff like that, especially in the crypto space. And so the only way to make sure you're winning is by throwing enough stuff at the wall. Of course, not well planned out things, right? But enough things to make sure that enough of them make it through. It's kind of like the sea turtle hatchling strategy where you just got enough of them that they can make it, make it off the beach. And so Float, of course, is interesting idea. It's not the only social network seeking to leverage Dash platform though, which is why we have stuff like Djembe. And if we have Djembe and Float and possibly some other things, and like two out of them or whatever don't work out, there we still have one thing that does. So good to have our eggs in all the kinds of baskets. By the way,
Yeah.
Justin jumped into the live chat and he just says, he usually make people pay for this kind of disrespect, but he just says, Mark's head looks more shiny than I remember. Loving the beard too. So
It's like that old crew getting back together.
yeah, for
Dark and
sure.
dangerous. I want to know why
Yes.
they decided to call it float, because it sounds a bit silly, but as I'm, very jovial character, like in terms as a decentralized social network, I was thinking about it and I'm thinking like, oh, Chuck, yeah, he's working at Float now. And the first thing I thought of was the Stephen King movie, It. But it's got like the clown underneath it. Things like, they all float down here. So like they could do like...
There will have to be a meme of like Chuck's face on the thing. We all float down here.
Because like the kid, right, he makes that boat out of paper and it floats down the drain. Like they could get the paper thing and redo like a commercial of that and then get all the people that have been censored on Twitter and they could put that on the boat and then it could go down the drain and then Chuck could be dressed up as the clown under the drain or something.
Yeah, I don't know if Chuck wants to be identified as a child consuming whatever, but the funny thing is I'm pretty sure the name Float either came from one of two things. It either was because of its fundraising kind of Patreon style quality, which is it's like you got to float like a money flow, like a sponsorship. Or it could just be because they talk about sinking versus floating in terms of like everyone's sinking on social media censorship and why not float and stuff like that. It is what it is. But yeah, but here we are today. What have you been working on over the last couple weeks that is not super, super secret?
Right. Okay. Not super, super secret. Oh, okay.
But partially secret.
Right. I've got to be careful with announcements now, so I'm told.
Yeah, there's something that's absolutely huge and massive for Dash. It's coming out in approximately 2.5 weeks. You heard it from Mark first. And if it's 2 3/4 weeks, you're going to get like angry people outside your door with pitchforks and torches. Now, just kidding about the announcement. I don't know if there is any. So continue.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Like it's hard to keep a good balance because communication has been one of the pain points of Dash, and a lot of stuff doesn't actually get translated quite well. And I do think it's important that we have communication channels with the community. So there's a lot to talk about. Right now, my primary focus is on two things. And these two things, I think, will move the needle the most in Dash. And that is the Dash investment reports that Cointelegraph is doing. And secondly, it's the CrayPay app. I think those are the two things right now that I'm really focusing my time on. But in terms of what's happened recently, in terms of announcements, I think the most recent one has been the Trustpilot one, which I would like to talk about just briefly, just in case people missed the announcement. So our fellow amigo, Foxtrot, also known as Fruit Salad Panda, notified me all the way back in January. This is how this Trustpilot thing started, to say, hey, there's a Dash.org Trustpilot review platform, and someone's put a review on there, and it's saying loads of nonsense about Dash. Can you sort it out? Because you need to flag it from an official Dash account. So I went to check it out, and, they weren't calling Dash a scam, but basically they had a bad experience with a merchant that was beyond our control. And the review process is about Dash.org and the products and services we provide, meaning the applications, right? So that obviously got resolved, but I had to take ownership of it. So then I started a dialogue with Trustpilot and got Robert Vienchko, Dash Core Group Chief Operating Officer, involved as well. And then we started this whole communication to see like, hey, what's going on? And then our contact at Trustpilot had also been working with other crypto entities. And he was the one that actually created the profile for us because he's a cryptocurrency advocate. And I've noticed the trend with other services in the cryptocurrency space, such as like Nexo, Travala, even Allnodes. A lot of our Dash users probably use Allnodes.
Yeah.
That we're integrating Trustpilot. And that has many, many benefits. So essentially, although we had the profile there, I had to work with Robert in terms of the implementation and deployment and that's still currently ongoing. So things like the widget on the website you see, there's going to be one on the footer soon. There's now on the official Dash Facebook page, there is a tab on there. But more importantly, with Trustpilot, it's important to keep getting user reviews. And we have a support ticketing system within Dash, so a support channel. And we use a solution called Freshdesk. So we're trying to integrate the API on that. So when we close future tickets, they get prompted to leave a review. And it's like multilingual as well. So There are many benefits of Trustpilot. So from like mid-January to now, it's really good for me to like finally get this out, because I really wanted to get this out a while ago, but I'm happy to see it out and about. And thank you to everyone that's left reviews. Absolutely amazing. I think we're over 50 now. So excellent work.
Yeah. We got a comment, Dash to the Moon, from, I can't read the name, unfortunately. Atlishna. It's good. Wonderful. Anyway, sorry, I just got, that whole thing got me on like a weird train of thought, all that kind of stuff. So the Trustpilot thing, of course, is, you know, big. It's one thing you've been working on. And then you mentioned this investment report thing. And like, I don't know how much you can speak about that kind of stuff, but how important is, what is it, and how important is this kind of a thing to Dash? Like, what are the possible like future implications of that?
Oh, great question. Yes, for those that don't follow the proposal system, I do have a more in-depth details on this. But I'm really happy you asked this question, because one of the biggest pain points in Dash is that in terms of reaching out to institutions and funds, like we didn't know, like occasionally people reach out to us and they say like, oh, okay, we can talk about our ecosystem, but we didn't actually know which funds were invested in Dash. And also as well, we didn't have the kind of digest that funds are used to when they analyze a project to invest in. So we partnered with Cointelegraph, and they're publishing the report. This isn't coming from Dash. And there's the whole outline. So you can see the sections and chapters in my proposal. I could probably bring it up and go through them if you want. And Cointelegraph are working on this. And the first thing that they did was that they surveyed over 1,000 funds about Dash, asking them multiple questions. One, so we could discover which funds are invested in Dash. And secondly, would they like to be notified when the report comes out? And most of them want to. And interestingly, a number of the funds that responded used to be invested in Dash, but don't anymore, but they're interested to know more. And some of the funds we didn't know about. So right now, currently, there's about 20 funds invested in Dash, and they're all going to be included. But in terms of the analysis in Dash, in terms of investment, what at the institutional level they would look at Dash is very different from a retail level. So basically, we asked, in terms of an investment thesis, what these funds want to see in Dash, you know, whether it's inflation rate, all sorts. And so we've partnered with Cointelegraph, and they have contributing report partners that are dedicating certain chapters to the report. So, for example, and this will be the first time I'm mentioning this.
Yeah.
And these are just the report partners that I can mention right now.
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Big announcements.
So, for example, one of the sections in the report is Dash as an emerging macro asset, and it's analyzing the returns and liquidity of Dash. Okay. So there are a lot of investment theses on Bitcoin right now and Ethereum, but there's zero on Dash. So we need to show them, you know, what is the optimum level or amount to contribute to Dash to assist their fund if they're in Bitcoin right now. And some of the reporting partners that we have to show some of these key insights and metrics is Bitwise themselves, a huge juggernaut of a fund.
Yeah.
Right. I've been keeping that tight-lipped for a while, and we have to really thank Demelza Hayes, the Cointelegraph head of research, for this, because not just the survey, she's gone way beyond anything that I expected. So Bitwise are actually contributing and actually mining data on what the optimum level to invest in Dash is to a portfolio. So that's going to be phenomenal. Yeah, so that's huge. Next is the biggest is CoinRoutes. And CoinRoutes is software that is the industry leading software for brokerages, OTCs, and exchanges to get the best rates. And they are providing they're answering some questions that I've always wanted to know. How much does it take to move the markets in Dash, right? And because they cater to big clients, in fact, Demelza told me, actually, no, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but they had one client that day we reached out that wanted to invest millions in Dash. And because they're helping the client, if they buy like huge amounts of Dash,
Yeah.
it's going to move the market. But that's not good for the buyer, right? So they spread the buy out over hours and everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
what was interesting was they showed us if you put in a certain amount, and I'll have to reserve that until the report comes out, how
Yes.
much it would move the Dash price in dollar amount in terms of the exchange depth and liquidity. And the results were amazing. Like we always talk about the limited available supply of Dash, but just the smallest amount really can move the markets. So the coin routes information and analysis that they're providing is, I think, going to be a big, shock. And you're going to see in terms of funds, I think this kind of level of data analysis you're not going to find anywhere else. And these are the only people that can really provide this at this level. And then quickly after that, our other metric providers we're working with Into the Block on a number of charts and data and reports. StakingRewards.com and allknows.com are all partners. So although the report is published and authored by Cointelegraph, all these partners are going to have their labels at the bottoms. These are the only report partners I can mention for now, but it is going to build so much more trust and credibility by having all these people contributing to the report. And of course, in the growth hacking aspect, the distribution of the report and sharing it through those channels as well. So all these people with big pockets and funds and stuff, we've never really done a big campaign. So once this report comes out, it's going to be published and distributed on Cointelegraph as a report. It's going to be having a accompanying article on Cointelegraph. It's going to be going out on their newsletter with 250,000 subscribers. It's then going to be, because we want to hit the target audience, right? It's going to be going out on Bloomberg, Thomson Reuters, FactSet, all over the shop. And in addition to that, we're going to be emailing all the funds that wanted to, the hundreds of funds that wanted to receive the report with a cover letter. And then the top dogs, the real top dogs that are the most biggest names that most people can probably imagine, we're actually going to ship 250 physical reports, print them out, and then with a cover letter. And then I've asked Ryan Taylor for his consent. And as a lot of them are kind of in the New York bubble, we may end up doing a tour, doing like an hour presentation here, there, and just try to answer any questions that they have on Dash. So this is absolutely huge. And that's why I say it really has the potential to move Dash. So the Dash investment thesis report is kind of, yes, it's kind of aimed at the institutional side, but Dash has been lacking at that. And we didn't really have any materials or resources for this. So there's that. And then there's the CrayPay solution.
Yeah. So we'll get into the CrayPay in just a little bit. I just want to redisplay this fun little live chat I got right here. Dash.org, 4.8 on Trustpilot, Litecoin.com, 2.8. Need I say more? So it's kind of a funny little jab. I should say that Litecoin.com is not the official Litecoin site. Litecoin.org is. For some reason, Litecoin.org is not on Trustpilot, so there's no real comparison. I just think that's a funny kind of thing. But it is good to see that, like, I just checked out Trustpilot right now, and Dash is doing pretty fantastic, right? So at least Operation Trustpilot has succeeded. Now, as far as like the whole institutional report, right? That people don't realize this. Like, this is pretty good to have that like Litecoin context right there, because people talk about my view over time is when there's something that doesn't make sense, it's you who don't understand the complete picture, right? And so one thing that's been a constant bit of frustration in specifically the Dash community has been what's going on with, like, why isn't Dash doing as well in terms of markets and attention as Litecoin, which seems to be just like copy and paste, whatever the hell. That's like a common like idea and stuff. And I don't think people realize just how much work is being done around Litecoin. And it's not going into the code base, which is what most people see. They're most like the actual underlying technology is, I mean, there's some developers, the Mimblewimble stuff, whatever. There's some, but nowhere near the level of innovation, technical innovation that Dash has. But there is a lot of work that's been going into, for example, making sure it's on all these funds, making sure the actual branding and unique selling proposition of silver to Bitcoin's gold or whatever, which is something that clicks in people's minds because they have silver and gold or whatever, that's kind of there. It's just to make sure it's included in the basket. Like, for example, like you want Bitcoin, then you got Ethereum, and then you want like Litecoin, and then there's like a couple others you might get, like Bitcoin Cash, because you can do that, and then there might be another thing like a stable, like Tether or some stable coin. Like that inclusion thing has been there's a lot of like hustle that has been on the Litecoin side to make sure it's included in that by default. It's like one of the like, all right, which payment options when you add crypto? They're not going to think. They're just going to get into a payment processor saying like these ones. All right, there we go. Litecoin gets included by default. Which funds, like the funds, what are they going to invest in that's not just Bitcoin? Well, it's these other ones. Like make sure Litecoin's in there. There's been a lot of work to make sure Litecoin's gone in there and it's paid off for them. And what I don't think a lot of people understand is that the level of importance of something like this, it's not like, shilling Dash on Twitter saying you got to buy it, it's going to make you returns. It's like, no, we're not talking that amateur stuff. We're talking making sure it's included at the table as it should in major investors' actual considerations and what to buy. Basically, fixing a problem that Dash has had, a lacking that it has had. And so hopefully this solves a lot of people's frustrations when they're like, why are you adding everything except Dash and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's part of the problem within Dash. That's why I say it's a pain point. We didn't have those resources and materials. When you're talking at the high level, investments in the millions and the billions, they don't make investment decisions over e-entertainment articles and editorials. They don't say, oh, what's in the news today? They do deep. They actually have their own analysis. Like Bitwise, they're mining their own data now for their analysis. They got their own team to do this stuff. So like, when you're looking at that level, they really consider what they're investing in, and that's why you have to give them that digest and format that they're used to. And you have to remember, not all funds are purely crypto related. They may have a very small exposure to crypto. So even if they're used to investing in traditional assets, they're used to looking at fact fund sheets, asset things, following certain metrics. So they want to know how Dash is performing to traditional assets. And we have to be able to provide this format in context so they can fully understand as our overview. So that's why reaching out to these funds was so instrumental. And I really do I sincerely hope that this actually changes and opens a lot of doors, because this report will serve as a lot of call to actions throughout, because it's going to really showcase how our whole ecosystem really, but from staking to OTC to custodian solutions to FastPass to even informing them about the Dash Investment Foundation. Sadly, I don't think we've done a good job enough of communicating about the diff. And of course, with more price appreciation, the more we can do with the diff. But I think that is a great selling point, because it's that positive feedback loop that continues to grow and expand. And I think when people understand that, that's really, really powerful, especially with one of the upcoming diff announcements that Ryan referenced in the most recent AMA that we did, where hopefully we're going to have a financial instrument. But unfortunately, I was hoping to announce it sooner than, unfortunately, we were allowed to.
So, yeah, it is what it is. It's water off a duck's back. Duck off a water's back, in fact. I did have a question from the live chat, and because because of the topic and because of the author, I will allow it. Instead of as I said in the last podcast, I said I paywalled Chuck. If you want to ask Chuck a question, it's paywalled. You got to pay to get past that. But this is an exception. Peter Vesberg says, please ask Mark to ask Ryan what the plan is to get Ryan on all the major crypto YouTube channels. Please. All right.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I would love to get Ryan on as many podcasts as possible. I think right now there are bandwidth and resources problems. What I will say, it's frustrating because a lot of things that happen behind closed doors don't get communicated, but sometimes for good reason. So this past month, and especially right now, Ryan and Glenn are working on a lot of regulatory stuff. and a lot of things in New York that I'm not allowed to talk about. So they are working hard behind the scenes. But in terms of getting out there and having things to talk about, that is kind of my job to organize this stuff. And one of the things I'm actually hoping from the investment thesis report is that then I can kind of go to the Laura Shins or the Pomp podcast and say, look, here's the report. Look at the key findings. Look at the key takeaways. Let's talk about it. And I'm hoping there might be a panel discussion as well, kind of talking about that. So I would love to see Dash, this is why I mentioned Chuck in the beginning, because he was such a great orator. We all saw this in 2017 in London at the conference in September. Chuck stole the show. No one was expecting it. And he gave a very Apple-esque keynote. And actually afterwards, for those that remember, we had like Box Mining there and Crypto, Omar, and a few other news people. And they were all asking to speak to Chuck because Chuck blew them away. No one was expecting it, but he was like the rock star of the event. So yeah, I do appreciate we are really lacking in terms of a public spokesperson. I do hope people have noticed that recently on the official channels, I've tried to communicate and do a bit more like video, like short updates, letting people know what's going on certain things. So I hope that is making somewhat of a difference. But I hope, yeah, but I do hope
puns today.
Typically, you need like a bit of carrot, some bait to dangle. And actually, when we did a lot of the previous regulation work, I did reach out to Laura Shin and some other people when we were, privacy was a bit of an issue after Bittrex, and I wanted to kind of set the record straight. I tried to speak to CoinDesk and all sorts, set up actually like video interviews and all sorts. And unfortunately, it wasn't exciting enough for them because there's so much market noise and things going on elsewhere. So in terms of like outreach and things that are going on, I don't know if I want to shift to CrayPay just yet, but where the investment report is institutional, I think CrayPay in terms of retail and coverage and things that we can do, that for me is where I think we should really be focusing on making as much noise as possible in terms of influencer marketing.
I definitely agree. And just get into the CrayPay stuff, and I'll kind of add a chaser to that because I've been looking at that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I recently moved to America late last year, and I've only opened my Dash wallet app a few times. Now, there are people like Joel who are strong crypto advocates and, use Dash for payments and to live on.
Yeah.
But like, if we want to be the Apple of cryptocurrency and we want people to use Dash every day, in terms of real world utility and use case, we have to provide a function, because for most people, using crypto for everyday payments isn't necessity, especially in places like the United States. However, with a solution like CrayPay, where you can shop at the biggest brand retailer names and save 4 to 6%, even more, I believe, with some merchants, that's a strong use case where that's going to apply to people even outside the crypto realm that we can onboard. So right now, I'm focused on CrayPay as well, because I think in terms of launching an app, because we're starting at ground zero, we're having conversations about what is the best onboarding mechanism, how we're going to get a landing page, how we're going to bring people on. And I'm always interested in feedback from the community. But one thing I saw work well with Venezuela was when, of course, Eugenia did the circuit of like a kind of roadshow event. But I personally believe it was the videos that people were incentivized to put on YouTube. So for me personally, with the price appreciation, I'm actually putting that to the side. So when the CrayPay app comes out, I was considered doing a documentary with a crypto publication, but now I actually think that money might be better spent actually getting top crypto YouTubers based in America to do reviews of the app. I will give them Dash, and then they can actually go out to a number of retailers, buy themselves stuff, and actually film and record it. And in addition to that, I would like to see lots of incentives to mobilize the community, but also influencers on TikTok, Instagram. There's a lot of YouTubers outside of crypto that do like shopping hauls, for example. So it'll be interesting to go into some demographics that we're not strong in the cryptocurrency arena and see if they're interested, because if we can onboard them, then, we're winning. So I'm really excited about this CrayPay app. So in terms of commercial, a dedicated website, outreach, coverage, this is where I think we should really be focusing a lot of our marketing and advertising efforts right now. And of course, in America, there's a high level of disposable income. So, and of course, CrayPay only works in the United States right now. And I think because of the high caliber of some of the retailers, some yet to be announced, I think are going to take people by surprise. And we need to make as much noise as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this. And I think that's where, in terms of marketing, our focus really, really should be right now.
Yeah. So that, let me just explain what and of course I have not used CrayPay yet because it's not like out. I mean, it is out, but not for Dash people. It's the old legacy fiat version is out, and I don't do legacy fiat stuff, so I can't. But from what I've seen, it's interesting because there's been a lot of, like, I guess, to do made over this kind of thing in the Dash community over the last few years, starting with, obviously Ryan being from the payment space when he came on, coming on board with Dash many, many years ago. And then things like hiring Bradley for, the business development back then. Oh, he has like Amex experience. And then just like all this, like, it's this constant like focus on, payments from like the legacy payments perspective. And I'm sure there's been a lot of, like, I would say, criticism and disappointment about this route because, like, so far it's like hasn't necessarily kicked in, but I guess some people might be failing to see the value in this thing. Is there's a reason why credit cards, these weird plastic thingies that didn't work, let's be honest, they don't really work that well. Like, I've seen people using, oh, it got declined, oh, this, put the little piece of paper around so it swipes better. Like, just, I've seen all like the headaches around that, but it got mass adoption somehow because people figured out how to make it work. And obviously the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, and it doesn't work. However, there's something that might seem like insanity to the outside person, which is, this works and you just have not gotten it right yet, and you keep trying to get it right. And so, for example, there's like the whole, like, oh, gift cards at dash.org using eGifter, fantastic service, right? The discounts were not necessarily enough to make people want to go through, let's go to this website, not even a mobile app, and let's buy a gift code, and then it takes a little while to deliver, and then we'll, get the email, and it's some people, it worked great for people like me, but like Bitrefill does a very similar thing, but a more streamlined, in my opinion, which, by the way, if you're using Bitrefill, sign up, promo code DCN, gives you some money. Anyway, now I've got my shilling out of the way. It works, and then there was like rewards.com, which is, oh, you know what? Shop at these places with the little rewards.com referral code, and you get a little like dash back on this stuff. And like, okay, yeah, but like, it just that there's something missing. That last little bit is missing. And I personally believe that CrayPay could be like, you fool, this isn't even my final form, right? It could actually be the form that makes it through, because first off, when you're bribing people with whatever, you're incentivizing people. That's a nicer word. You're incentivizing people with savings, with money, to use an unfamiliar currency, and more importantly, go through a hell of a lot of friction. And CrayPay is about the most frictionless version of this possible, as far as I'm able to tell. So, like, the gold standard right now is Bitrefill, right? As I just showed. But like, if I want to use Bitrefill, so I want to buy dinner. Okay. So if I were a fiat person, I would just look on Yelp, or I'd go outside and see if there's a restaurant. Oh, I'll go in there, and I know my money's good, right? My crappy fiat money's good. Now, with crypto, now it's just like, okay, well, Bitrefill lets you pay at a bunch of spots now that are, that don't take crypto directly. So I'm like, okay, let me just see, like, literally what I do on Bitrefill. Now, before I go out to eat, I go check out Bitrefill, look at the food options, and then either I have to remember from my town or wherever I live in which places are there, which places I saw as I was driving by, or then I have to start looking up one at a time. Like, is this thing, okay, no, never mind. Is there one of these nearby? Oh, never mind. I have to go manually through that stuff. Then when I go into the store to pay, I have to open Bitrefill, open the gift card, buy a certain amount, and hit buy, pay with the Dash wallet. It confirms, and now Bitrefill finally has it on the screen where it delivers the code on the screen where you can just open it and turn. So it's like a little bit of friction process, but like it's not very long, so it's okay. There's still a lot of friction we talked about in this evolved scenario, right? Now we go to CrayPay, where first off, you don't have to know where you can spend it. You can just say, I'm opening it up. This place 100 feet from me takes it. Let's go there. It just, the geolocation part of it tells you where you can spend it around you. You don't have to actually do any of that like research. You can just say, oh, like, where do you want to go? Here we go. This place will take it. You go in, and then supposedly it just, I mean, I've seen little things. It might detect the exact, like where you're at, like where you want to pay. And then you just enter the amount, exact amount, hit it, and then pay, and then you go. And it's like just those last little bits of friction. So it's like almost as frictionless as actually using fiat directly. So that's what I'm excited about. I don't know, is that accurate to your, I guess, estimations?
Yeah,
That was a long story. I'm sorry for
no,
boring
no.
everyone.
You're right. The most important thing to emphasize is user experience. And if it's not easy to use, people just won't use it. And it's actually the workflow thing that we're actually trying to work through right now, essentially. Because if we want to onboard people, especially if they're new to cryptocurrency, we need to make it as user-friendly as possible. And my understanding of the workflow of the app, and I must say, Ryan actually had a meeting with the CrayPay CEO today. There are a few things. I mean, Ryan mentioned that the CrayPay app was going to be called Dash Direct, but that may possibly change. And there are a few other things. But in terms of like the workflow, I believe you are correct. You can even, so it has the geolocation of all the listings. So when we first made the announcement, it was 155,000 locations. I believe by the time we announced it, and the last ETA I was given was actually on the AMA with Ryan, and he said towards the end of April. That may change, but that was the last update I had on that front. But in terms of workflow, I'll give you an example. If I'm in Walmart and I've bought some groceries, and it comes to $50, then I can go to Walmart. I can put in the amount at the counter, like $50. Okay. And then it will prompt me to make a payment. Now that payment actually isn't done within CrayPay. It kind of then will prompt you to automatically open up your Dash wallet to make the payment.
Yeah.
And then come back, and then it will give you like the gift card code or like a QR code that then you go on the Walmart till like saying pay with gift card. And some of them mostly now are QR code enabled, where you just show them the code that you've got. So that sounds quite long-winded, but the process of doing it is very fast, especially with Dash payments being very quick. But to your point, if people are brand new to Dash and to use this, there is a level of education. So if they go to the CrayPay website, for example, that we're going to have to create for this white label Dash version app, which is, I guess, still yet to be concretely named in terms of branding, you know, we're going to have an option to download the CrayPay app, an option to download the Dash app, which is kind of good in some ways because it will increase the installs on Dash. But people have to have an easy way to acquire Dash, and we have to offer many options. So one might be, for example, to use ATMs. There's a lot of ATMs in America. I think we have over 3,100 Dash ATMs on Coin ATM Radar. We can offer people exchanges. And we have to offer people the ability to buy Dash with a credit card, right?
Yeah,
of
course.
Also within the Dash app, official Dash wallet app as well, because really you'd only want people to go to that website once as a funnel to kind of download the app and use that. Now, over time, I suspect the process may get better and more smoother and more refined. But I think for legal reasons, you know, managing a balance within the CrayPay app isn't ideal for one, custodian reasons and everything else. It just makes sense to utilize the Dash app more in that sense. So, yeah, we're going to have this whole, you know, workflow, present options, and it should be exciting. I mean, the frustrating thing right now is I think everyone watching this totally understands CoinMarketCap is priced more on speculation than utility.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of the top cryptocurrency assets you can actually use for real everyday payments day to day. So if we can actually make advantage of this and attract people from outside crypto to spend money on this, and make savings, I think this is a great thing. And people will have to give us our respect. And just in terms of the merchants, it's not just the caliber of them, it's just that the ease. I mean, you talk about Bitcoin on Coin Maps, it was pointed out like Dash is going to have 8 times more merchants than Bitcoin, but there's going to be some retailers involved that are also e-commerce related as well. So it's going to be almost like, what can you not buy with Dash, then what can you buy with Dash? And that's what makes me excited, because now I actually have a reason to buy all my groceries, buy everything with Dash. And it's not, as you say, the friction. It should be frictionless. It should be easy. I don't want to manage multiple different balances of different gift cards. I want to be right there. I want to pay the exact amount, and I want to pay it in Dash. And if I can get a save in, even better. So I think this is huge. But we just need to make sure that it's communicated and propagated outside the Dash echo chamber, and people can see this for what it is. And reviews and influencer marketing, I think, is the way forward on this.
Yeah. So let me just the whole, it works for spending, look how fast the confirmations are. No one cares, right? At this point, people have seen nano shells, at least before the network went completely down, was unusable. That's different. They've seen Bitcoin Cash, it's meant to be spent, just use Litecoin, Lightning, all this kind of stuff. And people, it's not real enough to people. Or we showed someone in Venezuela with a phone that we probably bought for them and paid them to do this little shill video because he's starving, and there people seeing that whole thing. One thing that does still resonate is real people spending real money in a real way where it doesn't look like some nasty jury rig. And so, for example, I made a tweet before the last podcast. What was it? A week ago, where I basically posted a video of myself buying a croissant with Dash at Maison Navarre, which is your favorite place there, with AnyPay. Shout out to AnyPay. It was very fast. And so just put out this tweet, 146 likes, 14 quote tweets, 40 retweets, 3.6 thousand views on this little Twitter video. It's not too great, not too huge, but 26,782 impressions. 932 engagements. That's just one little thing of me buying a croissant at a place that I've done it before. It's not an impressive video, but it resonates. And here's the thing is, with competition, no one can compete with Bitcoin for being the biggest right now, right? No one can compete with Ethereum for being the thing that all the DeFi and gambling shit and wrapped this and all that stuff is on, including NFTs, which are even super expensive compared to say Wax, another NFT chain. No one can compete with that. No one can really compete with Litecoin right now as just being the Klingon, the clinger on, to the thing, just the default other thing. And right now, Bitcoin Cash is trying its very best to make the case that it's the money that you can actually spend. And I think that it cannot compete with Dash on a few levels. Obviously, the speed, the ease of use bit, the Dash wallets are more easy to use these days, but it's still very marginal before we get usernames, right? Now, what is the speed to security, speed to finalization is the one thing that absolutely there's no comparison. But who cares unless you're looking at a block explorer, unless you're a nerd. But where it does matter is so Bitrefill does not have Bitcoin Cash, for example. They have Litecoin, but you have to wait, as Amanda's video showed, 2.5 minutes to do that, right? Until you get a confirmation. Bitrefill, now I am not going to be the one to make this video or this tweet and make it go viral and stuff, because I like Bitrefill and they like me, and I don't want to rock any boats. And if they're listening to this, hi, Sergey, you do good stuff. However, I'll show this thing here was put in the one of the Telegram groups. Apparently, Bitrefill lets you have unconfirmed Bitcoin transactions, right? Now, listen, they'll let you pay and they'll deliver right away with Bitcoin. However, what it says is, in order to making a payment Bitrefill, in order for your transaction to process quickly, also known as zero conf, there are a couple things you need to make sure. One is send the exact amount shown. Two, set the required fee rate. Is in you have to use the fast setting on your wallet, which isn't just like, I mean, already Bitcoin fees are insane, but like this means you have to do the highest fee. And the last one is disable replace by fee in your wallet. So it's like literally just saying, if you want to use Bitcoin as digital cash, here's a big list of things you have to do before we even consider letting you do it. But please try anyway because we like Bitcoin. And it's like, how can you not compete with that? It's so the thing with Dash is Coin Payments has a little FastPass badge now next to Dash on their site of like 0 confirmations instantly. That's one place that you cannot compete with Dash currently. Is not, I mean, there are some instant settlement coins out there, like let's just say a PivX or let's just say a Nano, assuming it starts working again, but you can't do anything with them. And a lot of sites and services don't really accept it. So if you basically, we're going to start getting together actual images, actual videos of people buying, myself starting, right? Buying stuff in the real world with Dash. Oh, I bought here, I bought there, I bought there. Oh, I bought this thing at coin payments right now, and then Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, but it's just cash, bro. It's just money, bro. You can use it. Okay, can you get it like that? No, you can't. Sit down. And then like, oh, I'm just walking into a random like, Panera or Chipotle or whatever kind of chain around here. I'm just buying with CrayPay. Can you do that Bitcoin Cash? Yeah, we have gift cards and stuff, but like they need confirmation so there's no steal and it's not that. It's like, sit down. So basically building the case of like the sit down. So there's a wealth of knowledge to like then go to other influencers and YouTubers and stuff and just say, you got to try CrayPay. Well, why do we care about that? Well, because it's already snowballing. You better get in on it. And by the way, you'll get money for it. But basically making that case that in the real world, that you cannot deny. You can't say, you can't put an infographic that just says Digibyte so much faster than this, or you can't even argue. It's just like, all right, we'll go out and buy something. I can do it. Can you? There we go. Long ramble.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. This is what we need to do. We need to get those top crypto YouTubers to do reviews, actually get out and record themselves filming it. We need to incentivize the community to take photos, videos of themselves paying it, make as much noise as possible. And then even beyond like the crypto realm. So like shoppers, tech enthusiasts, really get out there. I mean, like even looking at Instagram influencers that, always take pictures of their shopping hauls and things that they buy. Because like, if we think about things, like a taxi ride or a coffee is quite, these are small everyday purchases, but things you make regularly every day. But for some purchases, if you're able to save 4 to 6% or even more, if you're buying like a brand new laptop or you're like remodeling your kitchen, you're going to make quite substantial savings here. And I'm told that the savings are going to go up over time as well. So this is going to be really interesting to see the uptake on this. And I should just mention, you mentioned Bitrefill.
Yes.
Another popular voucher website is Crypto Refills, right? Which you're very familiar with.
Of course.
I forgot to mention, they are actually one of the report partners as well, and they've provided some metrics and insights into Dash usage when we're going to talk about the use case of Dash and how it's used. So they've provided some insight. So I wanted to give them a mention as well.
Yeah. So I was kind of showing it earlier. There is a super chat that said that didn't quite fit on the entire screen, unfortunately. I guess we'll in less kind of ghetto version of super chats feature. Hopefully that's not a problem. But many exchanges, anonymous says, as they all are, many exchanges now offer credit cards in order for you to never get your Bitcoin expensively off the exchange, basically to not have to pay transaction fees. Does Mark think this trend delays the usage of Dash by some years? Will, with those cards, people don't notice the high network fees of Bitcoin and thus don't look for alternatives like Dash?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And of course, people always say it's dangerous to leave your money on exchanges. And now exchanges are now offering like staking ability, these credit cards so you stay within their ecosystem. Let me just tell you, I can solve this. Just telling you one little story. I won't name the provider, but I've had a nightmare these past 2 weeks. I use a debit card and it got one of these cards and it got frozen. And I've relied on this to make all kinds of payments. And I had to prove my employment, my income, and show everything, origin. So these cards are great, but if you really do use them, once you start hitting some thresholds, they're going to ask you to do your KYC, AML. Where did you get that money from? Where are these savings from, and everything else, which is understandable, right? But if you're doing this through CrayPay and you're just using the official Dash Wallet app and you're just buying gift cards and just doing purchases day to day, you don't have to take that risk. And also, when you look at a lot of these card providers, as we've seen in the past with WireX and other ones, the providers that are issuing these cards to these places are actually getting in trouble with Visa every now and then they have to switch providers. People that have crypto.com cards will know this quite a bit. Yeah. Quite often they have to change providers and switch, and it's a pain in the ass. It's not practical. And these things are built just to keep you in the system. So if you truly want to be independent and be in control of your own bank and make payments, I think this is really cutting edge for Dash to do this in this way. I don't see anything else in this ballpark arena with CrayPay. Of course, execution and delivery is everything. And one of the things, actually, Joel, that I would like to see, and I think you would be a perfect candidate for, is one of the things I discussed with Ryan is before the mainnet launch, because you want everything to be absolutely watertight. I would love there to be like a beta test. Yeah, I'd love there to be some beta testers within the Dash community that they can actually test that app, a week or two before, just to make sure everything is absolutely fluid.
Yeah, I want this to be robust.
Yeah, I want it to be robust. We want this to be good. Like, we want this to be an onboarding tool. Like, we want people to spend Dash. And I think this is a really great opportunity. So for me personally, exchanges and other like CeFi solutions that are offering cards aren't always the solution for me. I just told you my personal experience, and it wasn't great. And it caused me a lot of headache for 2 weeks because I had to figure out how I was going to pay for things elsewhere. So
yeah,
just be careful.
Crypto debit cards are so 2016 anyway. Like, who does that anymore? Well, I mean, here's the honest thing, though. There's a reason crypto is, I'll just say, as money, crypto is two big things. Is the store valued medium exchange. And the store value thing seems to be the one thing everyone knows about, everyone's big on. And store value medium exchange and censorship resistance of both of those things. And so when you have a crypto debit card, let's say a Bitcoin debit card, what you're doing is, first off, you're having your store value, you're having fiat, you're having a Bitcoin stable coin on fiat kind of thing. Like, you don't actually have your Bitcoin anymore at that point. You don't have your Dash. You don't have your Litecoin. You just have, like, you gave it to someone and then they just say, oh yeah, you got this amount of like Bitcoin denominated credit that you can use on your swipey. So it's still like not your keys, not your crypto. It's not just like custodial. It's like they could even not have it anymore. They could take your Bitcoin and like get rid of it and just say, oh yeah, I have this, we credit you in this much. So it's not even like that. And so you don't control your funds, and it has all those annoying things that people don't like cards for. I mean, maybe people do like cards, I don't know, but the reason that cards suck to begin with, and you do see payment processors like small businesses will sometimes charge a premium or have a minimum for card purchases because the fees are just nasty. And then they got chargebacks on that stuff. And then they have like, oh, it didn't go through because of this, it got suspended because of that. All those like friction-based problems, or just the fact that even though it's like settled, it's not like settled for another like few days, if that. All this kind of like issues, you're having that still with the crypto card. It's like a jury rig. It's not really like there. Now, something like CrayPay, first off, when you buy, it's almost like buying at the store directly, right? Because if you use a gift code, like let's say I go to Walmart, and I normally with money, you take like paper money, right? And you just say like, I want to buy this thing, costs $50. Here's my $50, give me the thing. Now, what CrayPay does is I use Dash to buy $50 worth of store credit, which then I can just instantly exchange for something. That's basically what it amounts to. It's like you already concluded the purchase. Like, they can't cancel the store credit. Like, you got it, right? It's good for that right now. So it's like one extra step that you don't have to deal with. And you know what I noticed? Like, and this is going to be pretty interesting to see. Walmart, which is of course the largest retailer in the U.S. as far as I know, was like one of the big ones. At their gas pump, their petrol station, they give you 3 cents per gallon discount if you use their payment app as opposed to like cards or anything to fuel up. So CrayPay, what if they give you, let's say, 3% back on Walmart? You get 3% plus, plus an extra percent or whatever for using it like that. You can't get that with a card. Even like all the rewards points on the card. And that's the thing, is like those, it all stacks up. Eventually, people are just going to be like, I'm going to use Dash because it works. I mean, do you remember that Scott Cunningham guy?
Yes. Yeah.
Who, I think he might be on the rundown next week again. But he, crypto, I would say YouTuber, but he's more of a library / Odysee guy. Anyway, he made some great video talking about how Dash is the payment coin. The coin uses to buy stuff, and not Bitcoin Cash, and not Litecoin mostly. It's just Dash, and he gave like all the good reasons, and got a lot of attention for that. And that's exactly because, I kind of came on his show one time, was talking to him about like, oh yeah, you can do this, that with Bitrefill. It's instant as opposed to having to wait with these things. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he tried it out, and he's like, all right, I'm sold. There's going to be a lot of crypto people like, and he is a level-headed, rational person who doesn't bullshit, and he's easier to sway with like the facts. Not everyone's going to be that easy to sway, but it is still the thing. There's going to be crypto people who have crypto, and then they're going to be like, oh man, my bank, they didn't want to know where the crypto came from, or like I have to wait for my blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, just like spend it. Well, I don't have any Dash. Well, just swap it over to Dash, easy, and then spend it. And then they're like, wow, yeah, but I like using Litecoin. All right. We'll wait for those confirmations. All right, yeah, whatever. You want to just not. Eventually, they're just going to get tired. It'd be like, you know what? I'm going to get some Dash so I can just actually spend it when I want to.
Exactly. I mean, I suspect when this first launches, the majority of the use is going to be people that are using their staking rewards to purchase things through the app. I highly suspect, and of course, with the more the Dash price appreciates, even those that are having fractional masternode ownership, getting those rewards, are probably going to utilize this as well, kind of like as a passive income. But if we can win over those people that don't have Dash, and then they can see the real value in this, should be important. So one of the things on the website that I've kind of been involved in and kind of instigated in terms of biz dev meetings is that we want to have like a widget on the dedicated web page that allows people to buy Dash directly on the website, and at some stage that will be integrated into the mobile official apps as well, but just to have that ready at launch. Because we don't want people having to click all over the place. They should be able to just go to one page, be able to get a Dash. I suspect that should be the one time they do it, and download both the apps, both the Dash CrayPay app and then the official Dash wallet app, whether that's Android or iOS, and then just have the ability. But we need to give people the options, because obviously with our partner in terms of the credit card expense will be the lowest that we can find, but we need to give people all options. So if people got cash in hand and they want to go to an ATM and get Dash that way, we need to give them that option. If they want to go to an exchange, where to buy Dash, we can mention those exchanges, those fast pass exchanges where they can get that. However, if they're new to crypto, going to an exchange might be a very daunting experience. Plus, they may have to do KYC if they join in on some of those exchanges, to depend on how much they want to purchase. So we have to make sure that in terms of ease of use, that we don't scare people off, and whatever option they choose to decide, that we hold their hand and walk them through the process. But more importantly, showcase the value in this. And if other crypto influencers or YouTubes don't, if we deliver what I'm expecting we will, and it doesn't get the coverage it deserves, then we know these crypto YouTubers aren't really about that life. Because there is no other crypto on this planet that can do what this does.
But and what about Nano? Instant, no fees. Sorry,
I mean,
I just had to.
I'm all for people having like Bitcoin as digital gold, and I know a lot of people are talking about Tesla, and now Tesla are now accepting Bitcoin as well, and the Bitcoin that they're going to receive, they're going to hold on to as well, and that's how it's interesting. I saw an article today about the stimulus checks in America, and they're reporting from a survey that 7% of people that received stimulus checks are spending on cryptocurrency, primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, because in terms of brand awareness and network effect, they have the most traction. But in terms of like real world utility, that dinosaur tipping point, of course, a lot of this is speculation that is priced right now. But in terms of real world utility and things that you can actually do, I do think the tides will change. I just don't know when that's going to happen. We always knew there was going to be a transitional period, whether it was going to be 1 to 5 years. But when people actually start valuing projects and what they can actually do and deliver, I think that will be the game changer. And right now, crypto isn't priced on utility. And I thought it would happen sooner. But being realistic right now, I think a lot of things that hang in the balance is Dash platform, because it's the extra added value that we provide in the decentralized apps, and that where people are going to reevaluate Dash and that ecosystem and what you can do with Dash, whether it's Djembe or NFTs or even creating your own tokens for your gaming app. There are going to be a lot of applications. How much traction that gets is dependent. But all I'm saying is these are all different verticals, and people are going to have to, at some point, look at Dash in a different light. And if they didn't like it, they're going to have to reevaluate, because we've come a hell of a long way.
Yeah, and that's the word. And by the way, if anyone has any extra questions for Mark, cointr.ee/the desert links, throw some Ds, we'll get them answered. But that's one thing that I think crypto has been in a rough resource. It just can you imagine evangelizing to someone, you should start using lithium. It's like, okay, and you just buy a lump of lithium. I'm like, what do I do? What the fuck do I do with this? That's kind of what crypto has been up until this point. And then at some point with Bitcoin turned into gold, right? Digital gold. And then the utility of it, there is still utility, which is, it's worth something and you can buy it, and it's not going to go down in value like the useless paper people use. And the word of the day is end user product. Is you need a product for the end user, and it just has not existed in crypto really at all up until last couple of years, where Bitcoin and other cryptos that are accessible on Coinbase, for example, they're the end user product as far as investment. The end user, an average person, gets a Coinbase account or gets a Binance account or whatever else, gets an Uphold account, shout out to Uphold, right? Then just buys some, and there you go. That's an end user product. Now, NFTs are becoming probably the second end user product ever, where people can just buy a collectible and just trade it around and stuff. And that's you have regular folks kind of doing that. Dash needs to, CrayPay might be one of the very first Dash end user products. And what we need to do is make more end user products, and then you can get end users, because all these other ones, they don't really have end user products. I mean, you can say Bitcoin Cash does to a certain extent. They have the wallet. Some places you can buy it from. Purse is a great, I guess it's it's hard to use if you aren't a crypto insider, let's be honest, but it's sort of an end user product and stuff. There's a bunch of end user products floating around, but if Dash has more of them and better, then you can just say, use Dash. Well, not use Dash, but use this thing. And that's the thing that as I mentioned on the last podcast, but I'll bring it up again. The cool thing, because Andy was jumping in on the live chat saying he misses Chuck and stuff, which is very nice of him. Andy and company, the incubator team, has been working on a great end user product, which is the DashPay JS plugin, where you can get a browser extension where you can log in with Dash. You can supposedly be able to buy Dash in the plugin. That's one of those things that's been talked about. I don't know how for sure that is. But then you can just sign up to a bunch of end user products known as decentralized applications or dApps. Get on your Djembe, get on your Springboard, your crowdfunding thing, get on your other thing, get on you get a bunch of things that end users can actually get, and you get one sign up page that gets them all in. And then you can just get real users. And as I've said a bunch of times before, I went on my conference tour a couple of years ago, got a lot of people really excited about Dash, got them a wallet, got them some money, and then that's where it ended. Because they can't, what am I going to do with it? I don't know. Now this is the time when you actually have enough end user products to get end users, and no one has end users right now, and no one can support end users. You cannot just say all right, here's your username, wallet, send it back and forth. Bitcoin SV has done a great job, but an incomplete job at this in recent times, where Handcash, which is a semi-custodial, well, username wallet. You can just say, here you go. You can send your little Bitcoin username to Sally at whatever, you know what, it's easy. And then, hook that up with your Twitch and you can pay out the ass to use social media, which, some people have. It is still an end user product and there's stuff you can do and it's all, it's intuitive and there's some interconnectedness, but it's just not going to be at the level that we're looking at now. And then you can just say because also you can't really buy anything with BSV right now. So, or I mean, there's some gift card solution thingy, but it's kind of like a lesser bit refill right now. It's not on the level of CrayPay. So anyway, there we go. End user product.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you say. That's what it's all about. And that's why I came to Dash from Bitcoin. As you know, I was a Bitcoin evangelist before I came over to Dash.
Yes.
So, I mean, I could no longer look my friends in the pub because, my God, my poor friends, precious metals, then Bitcoin, and then I'm telling people to come their own banks. And then they're like, how much I got to pay? How can I use this for everyday payments? Can I have a joint bank account with my wife? I know I've discussed this before, but that's essentially what brought me over to Dash. I'm not a Bitcoin hater. I'm grateful for Bitcoin paving the way forward. But in terms of if you want to tell people to become their own bank and take back control and to essentially do that, you have to make everyday payments. You need the Dash Digital Cash right now. That for me is the best position. That for me, that's why I'm here. I believe in this. You believe in this. We and I don't think we're done. I really don't think we're done. I think we have so much to see and load. And I did actually have something that I wanted to ask the Masternode network to poll them.
All right.
But maybe it might be good to do here.
Get it started here.
You could be the guinea pig and give me your feedback.
Yeah.
So the network, in terms of Discord, I keep seeing everyone talking about we need more marketing, we need more outreach, we need more advertising. And I just want to be clear to the network, right? If you want it, you can have it. There are lots of options available to me. And in the past, they've been available to DCG. Now, they gave their forward guidance of, Dash Core Group Sustainable, that they wouldn't take more than 60% of the treasury, of the budget allowance each month. But I was talking to someone recently about Coin Market Cap Earn, which essentially is where you watch a number of videos and you do a quiz. And if you do that, you get rewarded in Dash or the project that you watch, right? However, and I said we can do that, but it costs a lot of money. So I evaluated lots of different options. Of course, Coinbase have their own one.
Yeah.
Now, for example, Binance kind of control Coin Market Cap right now. And my concerns was you've got to be clear with the network about what the risks are. Because yes, it's great that you're educating people, but in order to create a Coin Market Cap account, you have to link that to your Binance account, right? To redeem the amount that you want for watching the video. And then my concern is that people may, being on an exchange, dump it or switch it for something else, where I would rather use a call to action to encourage people to download the app so we actually get some value for it. Now, so what I wanted to ask the network was, I can put up a proposal to the network to do Coinbase Earn, right? Now, the great thing is, I think, a lot of people say they got 35 million users. I think it's now 43 million users. And of course, they're open up to the US. And especially with everything going on with CrayPay right now and Dash in terms of utility, it might be a good time to have this discussion. Now, if a multi-month proposal was put forward for around 250,000, potentially more, would you support it? I mean, it only cost me a 5 fee to put up the proposal. It's your choice. I think you should have the option to choose whether you want to go for it or not. I'd rather not, hold things back and let you guys decide. But there are a number of advantages potentially with that in terms of having that conversation. A lot of people are thinking, why are that high astronomical amounts? Well, as I just stated, with Coinbase, especially doing their IPO, there's a lot of noise right now. But 43 million users, they have to cater to a certain amount. So if it's $200,000, for example, just to keep the numbers easy, and typically they give people $10 for watching 4 videos and answering questions correctly. So that's 20,000 users. So that's why the ask is so much. And of course, because they want to keep uniformity, they need to create their videos in the same style as well. We don't have the budget for that in the background, neither does DCG. So that's going to have to come from the Treasury. But in terms of what that could open up is a lot of people keep asking me about Coinbase staking. When is that going to be enabled? And I think this might be a good opportunity to do that, because maybe one of the videos that we could do if we approach Coinbase, we could say, we want to talk about staking. It might be a great time now if you enable this. So when the people that complete this, then they can get push notifications and rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, people always think about Coinbase as just the retail arm. Yes, they're an exchange. Yes, they got the learn and earn, but business size, they've got Coinbase Commerce. Now, I'm sure you know, but what other people may not know about FastPass is that they're actually chain locks and instant send enabled. So they have really fast deposit times. So in terms of commerce, they obviously going up against PayPal, Binance Pay, Crypto.com Pay. So in terms of actually having a payments focused coin on there, it might be a good idea to perhaps do a video on payments and encourage their own ecosystem, right, to implement that. Mm-hmm. Thirdly, we could talk about institutions. So they have a custodian solution, right? Mm-hmm. So that may open up a door because they have a lot of clientele at the institutional level. So I think they already support Dash, but they don't offer Dash staking. That could open up all kinds of possibilities. So I personally have wanted to see this for a long time. I remember discussing this, last year with Fernando and was exploring all kinds of different options. We just wasn't sure because the Dash price last year was much lower. Mm-hmm. And now, obviously, with Diff asking for more money and other entities, I don't know if there's ever going to be a right time. But as Coinbase is quite US centric, and with CrayPay and everything going on right now in terms of education, onboarding people, incentivizing people to keep hold of that Dash, what can they do with the rewards? Where can they spend it? I think this is perfect timing, especially with the investment report coming out as well. So I would like to see it. So that was a bit long-winded, but I wanted to give the backstory because there are many different verticals in this. So if this is something that you would support in the proposal system, please do let me know. I was thinking about doing a poll in the M&O channel on the in the Discord channel, but I know not everyone's in there. So if you could comment on this video, and even if you're watching this after it's live in the main comment things, just to let me know, just so I can gauge your sentiment, whether this would be worthwhile, please do let me know. And am I over time, or can I put forward one more proposal?
Yeah, you could put forward. So just on that subject, first off, I would suggest polling across multiple avenues, of course. Just keep it going. I think that's a fantastic idea, especially if such a proposal could get into custody and commerce as well as earn. If that is a thing, that's just like a no-brainer, as they say. And obviously, strike while the iron's hot is always better than not. My general thought of all this kind of stuff is going to become so much better with the end user product of CrayPay out is the one, and then the other one is DashPay and DashPay JS and all those apps. And so it's always like you have the user conversion funnel. Once you convert them, where do you convert them to? Where do you send them? And it'll pay so much more dividends if it goes into that, where it's not just, all right, you got some Dash now, figure it out. Where it's like, oh, you get some Dash now, you can spend it via CrayPay here. It's like, oh, okay. That's like the minimum, I think, is CrayPay being out, in my feeling, for this to be maximized. First off, if CrayPay is just like, oh, maybe July, so okay, fuck it, just launch the earn thing now, whatever. But, if it's out in timely fashion, that would be fantastic. Yeah, so I just think that would be an amplifying effect for the utility of this. I think it doesn't need any of those amplifications for that to be worth the investment, is my personal feeling. But if you do get these amplifying factors, like as soon as we have all these things out, like the landing page with DashPay JS and the main DashPay wallet and CrayPay, once all that's out, everyone should be emptying their pockets to throw every bit of money and effort at advertising this shit as possible. Because at that point, it just like, yell it to the mountains, right? Just like get it out there. So that's my view on that.
Absolutely. And
Peter,
I just want to make one thing
Vesberg
clear.
says, great stuff, Mark. I think I support it.
One thing I should make clear, though, is that although I said it's open to people in the US, their earn campaign is restricted from New York and Hawaii states, just to be crystal clear. So I just don't want to
Yeah, but people from New York and Hawaii are used to suffering anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah. So, thank you for the feedback. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I think this is a great opportunity, and you're right. I'm really happy that you clicked on and said like the cost of it, and we in the past we paid 500,000 towards BitGo, um, but like with this, considering Coinbase is going to IPO, there's a lot of noise and it will make a lot of traction. And if people can, one, it increases the distribution of Dash as well. And
Hmm.
hopefully these people hold it and retain it because they're just going to get push notifications. Because my understanding is in Coinbase, once you have that in your wallet and if staking is enabled with users' deposits, you get like notifications when, with additional rewards, which is fantastic. So
Now, random
this is a
question,
great
by
way
the
to
way.
onboard.
Uh, does Coinbase carry ETH tokens like staked stuff or like wrapped Bitcoin and stuff like that?
Not yet. I think
Okay.
they are exploring future options to do that. I remember seeing something from Brian Armstrong saying that they were exploring, but no, I'm not actually a Coinbase user myself, to be honest, because I've only
Yeah.
recently moved to the US and I had more preference to other exchanges. But there's no denying they're the juggernaut in the room, and of course they're connected to Digital Currency Group, CoinDesk, and I know there's a lot of speculation in terms of like the
Yeah.
elitism that goes on. But that's why I say, in terms of the institutional side of things as well,
Hmm.
there is so much upside potentially for this and what it would cost, that the doors that it could open. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile, and especially now as Coinbase is a FastPass partner, that I think in terms of actually then people, even if 5% decide to pull the trigger afterwards to acquire some Dash, that would be great to get some extra volume on Coinbase as well. So
Yeah, that's because I can already see. Imagine this, right? You can go to Coinbase Earn, and then you just watch a bunch of videos, like do a bunch of stuff, learn about Dash, get $10 in Dash, that then you can swap for ST Dash and start getting rewards on that, and then use that to leverage to start getting use put up as liquidity, a little bit of liquidity, but and then you start compounding it just like that smells like a whole lot of like financial freedom to me. It's funny. Demelza Hayes comments 500K to BitGo OMG. Yeah, those were the
so
days.
I mean, I think that was in 2017, in the heydays, I think. So I think I do actually have a second proposal, and it is actually related to Stakehound.
Oh,
And once
nice.
again, it would be a treasury ask.
Hmm.
So, based on the feedback on Stakehound and Stake Dash, I've listened to the community, I've read your comments, and some people would prefer to wait for wrapped Ren Dash,
Hmm.
although that's going to take a little while to happen. But then you don't get the staking rewards of that.
Yeah.
And one of the issues they have with Stake Dash is the KYC. So I had a meeting with Albert, from the CEO of Stakehound.
2 weeks
You
from
should get him on
today.
your.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
two
going to
weeks
say you
from
should get him on
today.
your podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
get him
weeks.
on your podcast. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Yeah, and that would be very informal. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe because Albert is like a walking thesaurus of DeFi, and that'll be an interview not to miss. But in terms of the KYC, that seems to be a big issue for the Dash community, especially a lot of the masternodes that have expressed that to me. So one of the things that we discussed was that, okay, well, we want to increase the liquidity of Dash and people want to get the rewards. There's no doubt people want Stake Dash, and we want to provide an off ramp for people in Ethereum to get Dash as well, especially when the fees are so high in Ethereum, but to get that Stake Dash and get the rewards. So we said, like, what if we took like 50,000 like worth from the treasury in Dash,
Hmm.
gave that to Stakehound, they did the KYC themselves and created the Stake Dash. So they go through the process, and then of course that can be exchanged via Ethereum. It creates liquidity for the market. It allows extra market access for people on Ethereum and stuff to access that. Now, in terms of distributing the Stake Dash created from that, I'm open to all kinds of options. But this is kind of like one solution that may help kickstart it, because right now we need to create the liquidity first before we can get lots of Ethereum people coming in and people doing not KYC angle. I mean, I hope down the line that we can approach CeFi solutions, so like centralized exchanges, and then they can support Stake Dash, which means if you've already done your KYC on those exchanges, then you should be able to buy, Stake Dash directly, which will be amazing because they've already got the network effect to follow us. But in order for us to go to those CeFi solutions, and we are talking to a couple, we need to make sure we have liquidity in the market.
Yeah.
Now, some people said this should be the diff because they're already market making, right? They're already market making the USD to Dash trading pair on the liquid global exchange, but they could actually be a market maker and provide liquidity on DeFi as well. I think I need to have a conversation with the diff and kind of explain how it all works. But I do think there are a lot of options here, but I would like to see this work. So that is another proposal that I'm kind of interested in hearing your feedback from.
Yeah, I think yes. Now, hopefully, so this is where we kind of get into that era of the Dash Treasury actually having some teeth. So I remember the days when it was like hilariously ghetto and small, and you got to pay one developer a half salary and then like buy some pizza meetups or whatever. And then it hit into like the crazy days of let's just throw everything we have at fighter jets and things like that as possible. I don't know if this year we're getting back to that level of like availability of funding, but the good thing now is that investment we have, and of course I don't want to commit the fallacy of saying that like it's free money because it's not. Every new duff created, it makes your holdings less scarce. But by saying, the thing is like something like Bitcoin Cash, for example, they don't have a treasury, yet there's a lot of people funding a lot of different campaigns out of their own pocket directly, which is kind of what's happening in Dash in a more roundabout way, but it's the exact same thing economically, I guess. Now, I think that like this upness of price that we're experiencing to a certain extent now, but also hopefully by the end of the year we're gonna have another big bump. It would be it needs to be capitalized on, as far as it's not going to be there forever. There's going to be a dip again. It may not, hopefully not be as low as before. You don't necessarily need a bunch of money to like succeed at stuff as long as you have enough development funding. But I think that people should definitely be like, while it's worth a lot, use that to just set up partnerships and things that are going to help in the long term. And it's not like, oh, let's just like jet plane ads, although I do want those back again too. But getting users. And that's the thing, is like a user doesn't go away when the price goes down necessarily. Especially if you can actually do stuff with it, like use decentralized applications or stake on this or, whatever like that. You could say, oh, well, bear market, my Dash is going down, but at least I'm getting more on top of it and I believe in it. And it's going to be, when it goes back up again, I'm going to be so much the richer for it. Like there's that kind of stuff. Or there's like, oh, I'm going down, but like I can actually earn this stuff from like social media posts and stuff. Or like it enables me to do these other things. Or I'm, like if I buy Dash and it goes down by a couple %, I've still saved more by the time I spend it on CrayPay or whatever. So it still works out. So that's basically my thought. Again, I don't speak for the whole network or even much of it at all, but my thought is anything that's like a sound investment idea, that's not a sound investment idea, don't use no matter what the cycle is, right? But anything that helps actually increase Dash's value long term and not just, some brief promotion, as long as it's like promotion as long as it builds the core value proposition and the end user products and the end users, then I think it's like throw everything in there. Everything. Not everything, but a lot of things.
Yeah, and I should just be crystal clear. Although I mentioned Coinbase Commerce, Coinbase Institutional, they support Dash, but in terms of staking, that's still yet to be done. And then also, of course, the staking element as well. Mm-hmm. These aren't offered by Coinbase right now. So by actually moving forward with this, should open up conversations to re-kickstart these conversations. And of course, the videos I would want to create for the Earn campaign wouldn't be on like the technicalities of Dash. I would want to focus it on the use case, how to stake it, get rewards on Coinbase, how to spend it, So Coinbase would be incentivized. It would be more of a partnership. They would see the benefit of it. And then I'm hoping that would really kickstart and push this forward. Because for me right now, that would open up so many doors, especially on the institutional side. Because if they offer staking for retail, they'll have that infrastructure set up pretty much for custodial as well, right? Because they provide their own custody, and all the clientele and institutional opportunities that will present itself from that will be huge. So the up value from that would be, yeah, phenomenal. So that's why I'm so bullish on this. For me, I'm always thinking, what will get Dash back in the top 5? What are the biggest pain points? There are lots of things we could do on institutions. Like, we're doing the reports, so we're giving them the information, and then we could go around. But like, let's just go to the head of the snake. Let's go to the biggest players and make stuff happen. We've got a treasury. Let's start utilizing it. I want to see more development. I'm really happy you talked about Andy. Love the guy. Love Incubator. It's going to get better with time. And yeah, we really need to start pushing things forward and opening doors. You know, who knows what's going to happen with the price? The Bitcoin price has got exploded this year. Really, really has. I don't know if it's sustainable. I hope it is. But like, let's not wait and like cross our arms and hope this is always going to be this way. Let's just make the most of the time now. And I really do think that could provide a lot of value. But these are just my personal thoughts. I'd love to know your feedback and suggestions. And if there's any way it can be improved, I'm all ears. And in the future, speaking of Andy and incubators, one of the other pain points that internally we're looking to resolve and reviewing a few things I'm not allowed to discuss is that how to create an incubator for the community. Like, you guys are awesome. Like, I'm loving some of the artwork on social media right now, and it's brilliant. But I want to incentivize you, and I want to reward you for it, and I want to onboard new people and new tasks, and not just artwork and memes, like translations, content creation, all kinds of things, right? So there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I had a great meeting with Robert on earlier, so we've got to tie up a few things with Trustpilot first and finish off the integration on that. But I'm hoping in the next month or two, providing that we work with a new partner, that we should start to mobilize the community that I always talk about, because, the community is our greatest asset, and how we utilize them is everything. And we have a lot of great talent, writers, content creators, translators. And I don't think we've had a way to really reward them, even on terms of the social media squad, even helping with social shares and everything else, but in an ethical way, and even going beyond that. So that's the evolution of Dash that I see, not just on the development side from the incubator, but also now empowering the community to really take control and perform certain tasks, and also onboard people, but all the same time rewarding them for actions. So I'm really excited about this. So yeah, I really hope in the next month or two, we'll be able to relay a lot of this information and have some cool announcements to make.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's amazing to see what has been done on social media alone, right? And this is like, Dash has usually had like an anemic social media presence. And that's why we first came into the picture when we joined with Brian for Dash Force. And, we're just, but like literally like the Page Shill squad, not literally, but like, what I'm saying. And then now for the first time, there was like a little kick in the ass in the community on Twitter specifically, but other places as well. And that has had some great benefits. First off, all the pressure from the social media marketing squad, the voluntary one, right? Not being paid, by the way. All that pressure has gotten Dash listed as a DAO project, decentralized autonomous organization, as it was the first one ever. I mean, geez, on CoinMarketCap, that happened recently. Binance dropped its confirms to, what is it, one confirmation for Dash because of social media pressure. And then Coin Payments, the largest payment processor in the crypto space probably, definitely the OG of them, also is Zerocon for Dash and has a little FastPass logo and stuff from social media pressure. And I'm sure there's a bunch that I'm forgetting off the top of my head as well, but it's working, right? And yeah, we're in a good position to do a lot of good, cool stuff. That's all I'll say to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so super psyched for this. And I was doing cartwheels last week and this week because I really want this solution I'm talking about, literally banging tables. But but yeah, so hopefully something will be coming out sooner rather than later. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to the community. You're absolutely right, Joel. Community power is absolutely everything. And I want to thank the community for rallying together on certain tasks and being respectable about it as well. Like sometimes, like insulting partners and asking them to make a change request is not the best way to go.
Yeah, you
But
guys are scammers.
if we do it in a constructive way, it does make the difference. And in fact, I know a lot of people are upset about the price in general. I mean, when aren't they, right?
Well,
But I know it's totally understandable. But like
market
at the same
ranking,
time,
I think the price is all right, but
but
compared to
in
relatively is what people don't like.
I go by metrics, right? So what I've seen over the last 90 days has really blown me away. And I know I often do a tweet about Twitter and everything else, but I really took over the mainline Twitter account, I want to say just over 90 days ago. And I know like in, about a month and a half ago, we saw like a nice bump up in the price. But really, like in the last 90 days, we went from just under like 320,000 followers all the way up to like, was it 385,000? I think we're going to be hitting 400,000 soon. And it's not just Twitter. It's on Blockfolio Insights, people following our project as well. That's up. I think we're at 2008. So yeah, 208,000 people, I think. One sec, let me just check. I'm going to check it live.
Do it live.
I mean, and this is great because this is active people following our project. So, hang on, it's asking me to put my 2FA. But yeah, it's about 207,000. So, yeah, so that is phenomenal because I've seen that drastically grow as well. So people are interested in Dash. People are following Dash. And I was actually worried because I didn't think this growth was sustainable. And there's a few tools online to check, like, 'cause I was thinking, are these bots? Are these real people? And I did a test for DashPay, and it's just like 98% are like real, which in the grand scheme of things for large accounts is phenomenally good.
Yeah, it's great compared to Charlie Lee.
Hashtag no comment. Or hashtag no Litecoin, apparently.
All the shit talking.
Sold all, not hold all.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I apologize for ranting on as well. But yeah, it's great to be back on the podcast. And Joel, thank you as well for being fantastic as well. With these podcasts, everything. I know I've been doing AMAs as well, but you've been doing this like nonstop. And looking forward to the Stakehound. And yeah, please, if you're watching this community, support Joel. He's independent. And yeah, can't thank him enough. And you sent me a message earlier saying it's nearly like our 4-year anniversary.
Yes. So this is a way maybe to apply some social pressure, but May 26th of 2017 was the first podcast we did. First of the Dash podcast. It was called the Three Amigos podcast. It was on the Dash News YouTube channel. And yeah, it's interesting stuff. So basically what I would like is to get mostly you, but also Brian, back on for a 4-year anniversary reunion thing. I'm thinking that would, get people like. So first off, are you in conceptually?
Absolutely. Do you know what? I miss Brian, and I would love to talk about him. I'd like to get deep down and dirty. I would love to talk about block reward reallocation, what he thinks of the treasury, governance, Dash Core group development, like all bars. Like I'm open to everything. Like I'm I'm an open book. I'll talk about anything. Yeah. So I think it would be great. I think it would be a nice thing. So yes. I'm game.
Does anyone here indicate in the live chat, hopefully live super chat, but also just the live chat, if you would like to see the 4-year reunion podcast with the original crew? And, just let me know. And also, of course, if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments. I think that would be great. I watched about the first half or so of the episode 1. It was kind of little dog shit, to be honest. Yeah, we'll have to play some of that live, during the... yeah, it's pretty,
we've been on a hell of a journey, but our audience has as well. And
Peter
there's been
Vesberg says yes.
lots of ups and downs, and yeah, it's great. Like it's always interesting because I always found me and Brian always came at things from different angles.
Yes.
But then we always kind of found some kind of consensus. You know, we're all strong opinions. We all, we all take actions on what we believe. We're very passionate people, and yeah, I got a lot of respect for Brian, and I always do listen to any advice and input that he has. So even what I'm doing now, I took a lot of feedback from Brian on that. So yeah, and yeah, I think it's great. I think it'd be interesting, and I'd love to see in the comments people as well just asking questions back in the day, like Dash News reinvigorated.
Yes. So Peter said yes. Herman's Crypto Guide says I want to watch it with Satoshi. Okay, whatever. Can't get it. Craig Wright has turned me down. And then Leroy Heaney Wine, okay, says hell yeah, I was there. Justin Szilard says absolutely. Fabio Bossi says yes, bring back 3 Amigos. I think that's enough to yeah, that's a good sample size. There's some demand for that.
I mean, I don't want to disappoint, but I don't have my Dash sunglasses anymore. My Stay Dashy glasses anymore.
Did you in the first episode though? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, shout out to Joshua. Those sunglasses came from Joshua, absolute legend. And
yeah, we should get him on at some point. I don't know how dashy he's still staying, but clearly we're here. Which by the way, do you remember how many people? Do you remember the shit we used to get for the Stay Dashy and putting the glasses on? They're like, grow up, or we're gonna take your funding away, and all that kind of shit. And that's a glorious part about being independent is I get to go. So that's the perk of these kind of glasses.
I've noticed your glasses have got the new logo on. I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah,
Mine's old school.
I have some extras here. Maybe I'll have to send you some or give you some, or maybe you can come up for Porkfest or something. We'll see. So it'll be fun.
Excellent.
DD says, "Where did your glasses go?"
Oh, well, they're back home in the UK.
Oh.
They're unfortunately they didn't make it into my briefcase.
Yes, they got
COVID.
They got claimed by totalitarianism, but
yeah.
Don't drive with those glasses. Yes, don't worry, I'm not going to drive. All right, any parting thoughts before we wrap this up?
I just want to give my thanks to the community, and I know things have been a little bit quiet on the outreach front. I do sympathize, and I am there with you. You know me. Stay dashy for a reason, but I've been actually putting money to the side from my budget proposal to actually really push CrayPay. So right now, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to help that. But in terms of onboarding users for Dash, that for me is like everything. And of course, the investment report, there's only so much I can do because a lot of those chapters have been handled by Cointelegraph and report partners. But in terms of CrayPay, I think this is an exciting time. And yeah, and please do let me know about the proposal, both for Coinbase and Stakehound. Which one would you prefer? If you could only vote for one on the Treasury, which one would you give more preference to? One, creating a new market in DeFi, or two, open up a market on Coinbase?
Yeah, I mean, good stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of mined out of all this stuff now. There's so much feed going through. It's just if you have eaten too much ice cream, it starts to mess with your stomach, or whatever. It's my brain's starting to get mush. But that might be a good time to wrap this whole thing up. So yes,
yeah. Last thing. I wanted to thank you because you were one of the first people to leave a review on Trustpilot.
Of course,
so thank you so much for doing that.
Your call out of people to do that. It was way back when. It was why is Dash having not good review of Trustpilot? Just boom, right on it.
So if you haven't done that yet and you're watching this, please do go to Trustpilot. You'll find dash.org for the review. You can go to the official social media where I tweeted out a video recently with the evaluate link. If you could leave a review there, I'd really appreciate it so we can get as much traction as possible. It really helps us out in terms of SEO and all sorts of things.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Well, anyway, thanks everyone for watching. 2 weeks, it's going to be Stakehound, and then 2 more weeks, there's going to be other cool guests to be determined. And as always, subscribe, comment, share, all those things. They always help. specifically subscribe to the Odysee channel, which is, you have the live stream in the video description of the YouTube one, because there's what, 31 people right now watching on YouTube, but there's like 5 on Odysee. I'd really love to see that flipping over time and use like the cool solution. So go subscribe to that one. And as always, thanks for the super chats and donations. They're always appreciated, and they keep me invigorated to keep doing this kind of stuff and keep me from, going out in the street too. But as always, now it's time for the after party. I need to work on that. But it's time for the after party, which is just like this, except not recorded, and a bunch of people, and just hanging out and talking. And I did hear a soft pledge from the one and only Chuck Williams that he was going to be in there. So that would be very nice. So if you want to get into the after party and hang out with all us cool cats and kittens, then you got to go to staydashy.com, which I'm going to type out in the live chat right now, which always takes a while. And then that gets you, not stay fashy. That's hilarious. That gets you into the Dash Discord. I almost said the Dash Talk Discord, which would have, triggered Tau in his shiny forehead, but that's a different story. So you go to staytashy.com. That gets you into the one and only Dash Discord, allegedly. Then just ask Grud, hey, where's the after party? Hey, you probably get dumped into the general chat. You're like, where's the after party? I don't know. Can I get in the after party? And then I'll let you in. And if you don't want to go in there for whatever dumb reason, I'm just kidding. People have their reasons. If you can reach me any other way and just say, hey, after party, can I get in? If you want to stand across the street from here and start a fire and start doing smoke signals, say after party, please. However you get in touch with me, I'll get you plugged in. So, as always, stay positive, stay humble, and stay
dashy
with a little bit of a delay. Bye-bye, guys. I'll see you next week.